Hey everyone, back to you into today's video. We're going to have a look at weather for the next week to 10 days in today's video. This takes us into the start of September. Looks like we're going to have more unsettled weather coming up through the course of the coming week. There'll be some heavy rain down in the south, particularly from today, probably through to around Wednesday or Thursday. A little bit uncertain for the bank holiday weekend as well. I'm going to do a detailed look at bank holiday weekend on the events page this evening, but it is looking a little bit uncertain for the bank holiday now. There could be some rain around, but pinning down exactly where that's going to be is going to be a bit of a nightmare, I think. And as we go through to next week, into the start of September, it's all looking a bit mixed as well, but the high pressure could reach in, at least for a while, to settle things down next week. But I think it'll be quite cool. Don't be expecting anything particularly warm coming up next week, and overall it does look as though we're gradually transitioning into sort of early autumn type conditions. I'm going to be away next week from Monday to Friday, so I'm hoping that we're going to have a few days of drier weather at least. We'll have a look at all the charts in a moment though. Very good on with that. Just to say about the ads, links articles on all the pages, guys, so I can't have a browse through the widgets. If there's any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You have to go and read the article, and thanks very much for doing that. Also, video ads post page, so open out the content, and when you watch them, they'll close back up again. So let's just start off with Central England temperature. We've got 1 week of August left to go, and so far Central England temperature is standing at 16.5. That's provisional up to yesterday, the 23rd of August. That's a normally just 0.6 of a degree above average. That's probably going to drop down a little bit over the next few days, and it'll be corrected down a bit anyway. It usually is by a couple of tenths of a degree. So overall, I would anticipate we're going to finish up pretty close to average, to be honest, maybe a little bit above average, but I think we'll finish up really almost close to the 30-year temperature average, and that is where we've been through July and August as well. So overall, I don't think we'll have a particularly big deviation in the temperature across Central England anyway for this summer. I think it'll come out very, very close to that old 61 to 1990 average, which probably means it's a pretty cool summer really compared to a more modern average. Up in the north, it has been a much cooler summer though. I always have to put this caveat in because this is for Central England, and if you're looking at the temperatures further north, been a much cooler summer, very poor summer indeed for parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland and Northern England. When we do the evaluation for the summer, as we go through to next month, we'll have a look at the UK figures at the UK Met Office, and I think they'll be very enlightening, showing the big contrast between the north and the south that we've had this summer. Now, saying that, the south is getting the worst of it today. This is the radar picture from the Weather Outlook, and you can see all of this heavy rain down in the south, really, really wet across many southern and southeastern parts of the country. I don't think this is producing much lightning. We'll just have a quick look at the lightning detector device, and there's not much showing up. There could be a few flashes around the channel, perhaps clipping into Kent, but overall I think it's a bit too cool for much of a way of thunder and lightning today. Very chilly day under that persistent rain. I think we took most of the cake, most of the heat and the humidity out of the atmosphere over the weekend. So just a thoroughly wet, miserable day coming up down in the south, and this really sets the scene, I think, for the rest of the week in the south. Is the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles, dealing with the precipitation mainly, and it's these big spikes just here going through to the end of the month. They are rainfall spikes, and they're indicating some quite big rainfall events coming up over the coming few days. Going to be rain today in the south, of course. Going to be more rain tomorrow, probably more on Wednesday, and there could be some more going into Thursday as well. And then it's going to the weekend period, which is this period just here. The long weekend. Well, it did look as though it was going to be dry a few days ago, but increasingly the GFS is trying to bring precipitation into the weekend as well. So we're going to have to wait and see on that one. We also get a bit of a push up in the temperatures over the weekend, interestingly. You can see the temperatures lifting up there a little bit. So maybe turning warm and wet again over the weekend. Very uncertain what's happening there. In terms of the temperatures, the red line here is the 30-year temperature average on this graph, and we're going to be pretty close to average through the rest of the week, really. Sometimes below average, sometimes a little bit above, sometimes a little bit below again, until we get to the weekend when maybe it does turn warmer for 2 or 3 days before dropping back, but that could be associated with these rainfall spikes here, of course. And then into the start of September, this takes us to September the 1st just here, and basically we're close to the 30-year average again. In fact, maybe going a little bit below average at the start of September. I think we're probably going to get, next week, probably going to get high pressure setting up just to the west, so it could turn a little bit drier, although there's quite a few precipitation spikes coming through even then. But it could turn a bit drier next week, but I think with high pressure to the west, we're probably going to pull down fairly cool northerly winds, so I think we'll have a bit of a chilly feel next week, maybe at night particularly, perhaps even with a touch of ground frost in northern Glens. Temperature anomaly for the coming week is coming out very, very close to average. No great deviation there from the 24th of August to the 1st of September. Perhaps ever so slightly above average in the south and ever slightly below average in the north. But I think overall very close to average temperatures and very close to average precipitation as well. Although, having said that, it is wetter down in the south, and that was backed up by the ensembles, of course. Elsewhere it's really near normal, but there are going to be some heavy rainfall events down in the south, I think, over the coming week. The generic charts, this is for the GFS for Friday. Low pressure very close to the northwest of the country. Trying to get a bit of ridging going up over Greenland, interestingly. You don't often see that at this time of the year. If it does set up, it will probably imply quite a cool and wet September. But anyway, I'll digress on that. Low pressure is around the country for Friday, so it's probably going to be on the showery side. As we go through into the weekend, this is the uncertainty that's going on. Very complicated pattern for Saturday. We've got a high pressure area developing across Central Europe that's trying to push up some very hot air from the south. We've also got this high pressure developing around Greenland, and I was just mentioning, quite unusual to have that there at this time of the year. That's trying to push very cool air down from the north, and in between we've probably got some sort of waving weather front and low pressure perhaps developing with the contrast between these air masses. So a little bit concerned about the bank holiday weekend, to be honest. With such a contrast in temperatures from north to south, there could be quite a lot of rain there. So we'll have a look at the weekend events on the events page this evening. But here we are for Sunday, and low pressure is sort of developing around the country. There's probably some quite warm air on the southern eastern side of this low pressure, but there could also be quite a bit of rain as well. Because as I say, it's a big temperature contrast. You have a look at the upper air temperatures very quickly with that. We can see that there is a big temperature contrast from north to south. It's hot in the south, but it's very cool up in the north. And that, this time of year particularly, normally implies the chance of quite a lot of rain. So we do have to watch out for that a little bit. As we go through into Bank Holiday Monday, low pressure is still close to the country, so it could be showery at the very least. Going beyond that into the start of September, low pressure stays to the north of Scotland, so showery up there, probably on the dry east side down in the south, but overall tending to be fairly cool, I think, with that. By the time we get through to day 10, Thursday the 3rd of July, we are bridging in a little bit of high pressure then off the Atlantic, but you notice it is centred to the west, so probably quite cool air coming down around that high pressure. ECWF, again, there's the low pressure to the north of Scotland on Friday, so showery end to the week. Going into the weekend, that low pressure stays close to the north of Scotland. We're trying to bring up that warmth to the south, and there's an area of low pressure developing around northern France, so that could be threatening some heavy rain into the south and southeast, perhaps making thundery on Sunday the 30th. Bank holiday Monday looks like this, with low pressure sitting to the east, high pressure ridging to the west, and bring down this cool northerly wind. So probably showery and quite cool. I mean, increasingly through next week, that high pressure builds in off the Atlantic, so it does settle things down through the first few days of September. So turning mainly dry, but it is cool with that, and it would be particularly cool at night. I say we could get a little bit of ground frost even in the northern Glens. And then finally the GEM, low pressure to North Scotland for Friday, so showery conditions to end the coming week. Going through to next weekend, it's very similar this to the GFS idea, which is to have hot air trying to be pushing up from the south, very cool air trying to be coming down from the north, and in between I would think there's going to be a weather front that's going to be the dividing line between those two temperature contrasts. So again, a little bit concerned about things over the weekend. It all sort of ends up with low pressure out to the east and a ridge building in from the west by the time you get through to next week. Again, quite cool air coming down around the top of that high pressure. Notice this just coming on to the very far left-hand side of the chart as you're looking at it. That is the remains of a hurricane. The first one we've had in the northern Atlantic quadrant at this time of year, or first one we've had this year coming into the northern Atlantic quadrant. That will bring the certainty of the models down a lot. If it does end up in the northern Atlantic, it will become very uncertain as to what's going on there. What the GEM does with it is sort of stalls it to the south of Greenland, which helps to keep this ridge over us. But if we do start getting ex-hurricanes coming into the northern Atlantic, then we're going to find model reliability becoming very, very low. That always happens when hurricanes begin to push up into the North Atlantic Ocean. This is the CFS temperature graph forecast for the coming 6 weeks from the website weatherweb.net. This is for Birmingham. And overall, it's going for quite a cool September, actually. You can see, except for this one little push-up in temperatures that occurs more or less around the 1st of September, there's nothing really there in terms of warmth at all. It's just sort of very cool conditions throughout the month, and even going on into the start of October, this October the 1st, just here. This is 15 Celsius, which would be below average in Birmingham in September, and you see that through most of the month that's around where we're hovering, really around 15 Celsius. So pretty cool September coming up if that's right. It is needs to be taken with a pinch of salt though. There's a lot of uncertainty with that. September is always a hard month to forecast because you're tending to get the remains of ex-hurricanes coming into the northern Atlantic, so the model reliability always plummets in September. But yeah, CFS seen a pretty cool month of it this morning. Anyway, coming back to the weekend, we've got a lot of rain in the south through the rest of this week. As we get through into weekend, I'm a little bit concerned about what's going on there, because we've got hot air trying to come up from the south, cool air trying to come down from the north, and I think there's going to be a weather front dividing the two air masses, so there could be potentially some quite heavy rain over the weekend. We'll update the events page this evening for the bank holiday weekend. But as next week is concerned, I think we're seeing a trend towards drier conditions, but probably quite a cool start to September. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.